I'm not the type to throw things in your faces and tell you what moves you should have made or not made. I'm not here to play Monday morning quarterback. That is not what we are about here at Team Peggy at the Recap Center. However, this week, with this matchup of Joe and Ed, round one, I do recall in the week 13 recap, I was letting Joe know that he hasn't made a move yet to replace Rob Gronkowski. I suggested that maybe he should play Rob's replacement on the Patriots. Well, that would have ended up being a terrible move because he was just able to score 1 point. But Joe decided to play Austin Seferian-Jenkins for whatever reason, and Austin Seferian-Jenkins scored a big fat 0. Instead, on Joe's bench, he had Jared Cook, Jared Cook was the player who he replaced with Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Now, I understand. I down-talked Jared Cook. I said he probably shouldn't start him. Maybe Joe listened to the recap. I have no idea. But it was plain to see because Jared Cook hadn't done anything in the last previous weeks. But Jared Cook was able to score 13 points in round one. That would have given Joe the edge over Ed. And now, Joe's riding the bench with Andy, Eric, Pedro, Hensel, and worst of all, with Paul. Ugh. This is your round one recap, and this is just a free-flowing recap as it's a little all over the place. It is not as professional as the other recaps. There's not really much to talk about except just talk shit, really. We've got only 2 significant matchups. We don't have our regular weeks where it's the lot of you that I can fucking make fun of. I can only make fun of the 2 losers. And in this case, you had Joe falling short up against Ed, 62 to 56. As I said, that Rob Gronkowski thing hurt Joe so much, and that's pretty much the reason why he was ousted. I mean, Tom Brady put up 9 points. From what I understand, he has a tough time against the Dolphins at Miami, but for Brady to score 9 points, I mean, you have to think if he had Rob Gronkowski in there, he'd do a much better job. On the other side of the game, you had Ed with a 14-point performance with Cam Newton, 4 points from DeMarco Murray. You got a solid performance from Marshawn Lynch. You know, I honestly thought Ed was done, as most of you know. I thought Ed was done because of that reason. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a 14-point margin or something like that at the beginning of the Monday game. And that was, that's pretty much what did Joe in. Ed moves on to the second round, and we will get to Ed's second round matchup in just a second. The other matchup was the 6th-ranked Andy against the 3rd-ranked Orlando. Now, let me reiterate that last week I said that Ed would win and that Andy would win. But in this case, I was wrong in this game because Andy fell short 89 to 101, so Orlando advances. Obviously, the injury to Carson Wentz would have probably fucked Andy over had he advanced in any case. There's not a lot of quarterbacks to choose from in the player pool. He got a -2 from the Bengals defense. And Jordan Howard put in a solid performance for him to end the season, which was great for Andy because Jordan Howard hadn't done almost anything over the past month. On the other side, you had Orlando get a 21-point performance from Russell Wilson, 13 points from Melvin Gordon, and a pretty good game by Dez Bryant. That was a surprise. It was only 3 catches and 73 yards, but in the playoffs, it doesn't matter just as long as your players get the job done. So let's just move on to these to these round 2 matchups. And now the moment has come where the division champions will now participate in the playoffs. You have the number 1 ranked Peggy going up against Ed. And what can I tell you, my friend? This will be our second matchup in about 3 weeks. And I've got Aaron Rodgers going out there, so I like my chances. I would say that Aaron Rodgers at 80% is pretty equal with Dak Prescott at 100%. Even worse if it's Ezekiel Elliott being out. So I pretty much figure that I have more of an edge with Aaron Rodgers. There's no way that I'm gonna pick this guy up and not play him. He's the best fucking quarterback in football or fantasy. I've got Todd Gurley going up against the Seattle Seahawks. That's a tough matchup there. Leonard Fournette going up against the going up against the Texans. Another tough matchup there, as the Seahawks are third ranked against the run, and you've got the Texans fifth ranked against the run. However, I do have a very favorable matchup with CJ Anderson going up against the Colts on Thursday. And yes, I will be keeping him out there unless for whatever reason Adrian Peterson changes my mind. Adrian Peterson is projected to get 8 points and CJ Anderson is projected to get 9. Ed, what do you got? What do you got to threaten me with? I mean, I expect you to get a solid performance from Cam Newton. I'll even take a touchdown from Marshawn Lynch if that's what you want. But AJ Green, who is pretty much your biggest home run threat outside of Cam Newton, he is your biggest home run threat going up against none other than the Minnesota Vikings. I don't like your chances there. Alshon Jeffrey going up against the Giants. Maybe you could sneak in a touchdown there with maybe 30 or 40 yards. Why not, kid? Go crazy. And you've got the Eagles going up against the Giants defense. That should probably turn out well for you. However, I have the Titans going up against the 49ers. I don't give a fuck who Jimmy Garoppolo is. I'm scoring points in that matchup. So, obviously, I would predict that I would defeat you, but it's not enough for me to predict that I would beat you. I should pick a final score. And I think that I have the edge in this matchup by a final score of 105 to 76. Yes, 105 to 76 will be the final score, or not too far from the final score when it's all said and done by the end of round 2. And on the other side, you have Orlando going up against Dad Bod. Now, during the season, they played each other just one time, just like Ed and I. I defeated Ed in week 13, and week 12, Jay defeated Orlando 119 to 84. Orlando's got Russell Wilson going up against the Rams, and Orlando's got a similar system here to his brother, as he's got pretty much his strongest point is his quarterback and his tight end connection. Last week, he didn't get any points out of Jimmy Graham. I'm not sure why. Maybe he was out of the game with an injury, but that's pretty much going to determine where the direction in which Orlando's game goes this week. I would be pretty scared of the fact that Rex Burkhead has gotten touchdowns in the last 3 games. He scored 17 in week 12, 21 points in week 13, and 10 points in week 14. You got to figure he's due to do nothing at some point. I mean, he's going up against the 19th ranked team against the run in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Orlando's got some decent matchups. I do like the fact that Orlando's got more matchups that are taking place. No, I mean, it's pretty much even, the 4 o'clock games and 8 o'clock games. So this game's going to be determined by the end of the night on Sunday, unless it's a huge blowout. I don't like the fact that Jay still has Phillip Rivers out there. I mean, it's pretty ballsy that he's been able to make it to this point with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers isn't the worst quarterback in the league, but he's definitely not somebody that I would be putting out there. But he's had success over the past month or so with 29 points in week 12, week 13, a 17, and just last week with a 20. Jay had a very high score, and as I said in the chat, we both scored 130 plus. So watch us both put up 40-point performances. I think the edge in this game will go to Jay. I mean, this is the second week in a row that I do not choose Orlando. Orlando wins very close games. Orlando doesn't have many blowout performances this year. I mean, that's just not what his team does. And Jay being the highest scoring team, where is Orlando going to get that production from? Where is it going to come from? I mean, I'm taking a look at Orlando's schedule this year, and a lot of Orlando's wins come within those, 10 to 15 point margins. He doesn't really put out a lot of blowout performances, and I think in order to defeat Jay, he's going to have to score well over 100 points. I'm not saying Jay's going to score 140, but he's definitely not going to put up a 75 or an 80. I like the fact that Jay's got Le'Veon Bell going up against the Patriots. Le'Veon Bell's been on a tear. The Patriots are the 16th ranked team against the run. He's got Alfred Morris going up against the New York Giants. He hasn't done much over the past few weeks, but it's the Giants, so you never know. He could probably explode there. What are the Giants against the, let's see. I'm sorry, not the Giants, the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders, who are the 20th ranked team up against the run, so I like Jay's chances there. I'm not going to predict what the amount is or what the spread is. I'll just say that I think that Jay has the upper hand, so that, of course, would suggest that Jay and I would meet each other once again in the championship week. So there you have it, folks. I mean, I'm not going to give you too many details. I'm not going to tell you, I think this guy didn't win. I'm just going to tell you flat out who I think the victors are. You will have me advancing and you will have Jay advancing, and we will be the championship game next week. And it's fitting because we are the two championship winners, and let's see what happens from then on out. If we just so happen to advance, then the next recap will be a total fucking onslaught against Jay's character, against Jay's family, against everything that Jay represents. So be sure to look forward to that. And as always, may your quarterbacks get hurt before they leave the locker room. May your running backs pull their hamstrings, and may your wide receivers get arrested for marijuana possession. Go fuck yourselves.